Austin rents increase 112%. That's what an article in Astonia said. And at first glance, it seems like that could be right. Austin's going nuts in terms of real estate. But we started thinking about it. Have you met anybody in Austin that's rent has more than doubled in the last year?
Can't say that I have.
I have not either. No. So didn't really make sense as we started to think about it. So we dove right in to see what is going on. How much did rents actually increase here in Austin? So here's the article in Astonia. Austin saw a bigger increase in one-bedroom rent prices than almost any other city in the U.S. in April, according to a Rent.com report. Astonia, a local news portal, was actually pulling it from Rent.com. So we're going to dive into the article that they have and see what exactly did happen here. So they showed a 112% increase from April 2021 to 2022. Oklahoma City is the only city that saw a higher rate of 133%. Can you imagine living in Oklahoma City?
Wow.
And the fourth highest increase in two-bedroom rent with a 50% increase in the past year. The city joined a nationwide trend where rents were up 8.3% year over year across the U.S. It's quite a disparity. 8.3% national average, 113% in Austin. Is this possibly fake news, Lee?
I think we're onto something here, David.
The Rent.com stats. You can see the one-bedroom rent reported at $29.18 a month, and there's their 112% increase.
Right. So one of the things when we're looking at bad data, fake data, is the absence of critical data. And so what we're missing here is the base number from which they're calculating the difference. They're just showing what they think is 2022, and we'll do a spoiler alert. What they're showing there is not the one-bedroom average, it's the overall average of all properties. We're starting to break down where the problem's coming from.
So this is from our back end. We highlighted the key inputs so you could see how we're coming up with our numbers. And here's for the last 5 years, you can see rent increases. So one bedrooms went from $1,500 in 2021 to $1,672, an 11.3% year over year increase. Pretty big difference. They moved a decimal point, one digit to the right.
Yeah, and it's kind of the common sense test. Do you know of one bedrooms at $2,900, $3,000? Well, maybe some penthouse suite somewhere, but on average, it just didn't make any sense.
Yeah, and were those units $1,500 last year? Now all of a sudden they're $3,000?
Right.
So I think we can definitively say this is fake news.
Yeah.
And so here's the Austin two-bedroom rent, the 50% increase. So the two-bedroom rent, $2,300. Well, there's another red flag. Does it make any sense that a two-bedroom is $2,300 on average, where a one-bedroom is $2,900?
Right.
Doesn't make any sense.
No.
So clearly they messed up with the data. And here's the two-bedroom increase. It's about an 18% year-over-year increase. So they weren't even correct with their nearly 50% on the two-bedroom. So it's really hard to know where they're getting the data.
Right.
Because they didn't show it. Maybe they were doing this on purpose just to get a crazy headline, 112%, get some eyeballs, which they did. Because people send us this article going, could this be right, David?
Yeah, it's got us talking about it, but was it intentional? Was it intentional fake news or just sloppy journalism? I think the latter. People are trying to draw conclusions from these portals with the news that's being broadcast, and it's just garbage.
Yeah, so you just got to be careful about the data you're pulling in and using that common sense test.
Right.
Like, could that be right? Like,
yeah.
Where are the holes in this?
We looked at it and it was like, wow, that's shocking, but what? No way. So here's the takeaway for all y'all, as we say here in Texas. Rents are going up. They're not doubling year over year, but they're going up significantly. So what does that mean to you, our clients, and our sphere? Well, be sure to know that based on your situation, rents are going to go up. So if you're currently renting, what does that mean? What's your recommendation, David?
That this could be a good time to buy and lock in your monthly payment because you're now the owner.
Right.
And you will have some increases in your property tax bill, but it's not going to be commensurate with how much your rent would go up.
Right.
And yes, interest rates are higher, but we're still at historic lows.
Right.
Over history, maybe not over the history of the last 2 years.
Right.
So I still think if you can get a 5% interest rate, potentially a chance that rates go down in the future, you can always refi and get a lower rate.
Right.
But locking in today and starting to build wealth, I think is very valuable.
And just to make you feel better, guys, from my standpoint, the first house I bought was when rates dropped to 12%. So 6%, 5% is all good.
And the reason why is because the landlords, they're getting their tax bills, and they may not realize it now. They've gotten their property value report, but they haven't gotten the actual tax bill.
Right.
So they may not be realizing how much their taxes are going to go up. And when they do see that and realize it, then they're going to have to raise rents to offset that because they don't want to be losing money.
Right.
And if you didn't see our report on property taxes, we will link that below. Definitely check out that video. It's super interesting on how they're calculated and how this is going to impact everybody, not just the owners of the property, but also the tenants.
Right.
And then investors, rents are going to go up. And when rents go up, that makes the properties more valuable because investors are looking at based on cash flow.
Correct.
So there's a chance that a lot of these rental properties will go up in value when rents start going up and the market is able to absorb that, which is what we're seeing anecdotally. I had a property, I raised the rent 25% from last year to this year. I had 5 applications. There's plenty of people willing to pay the increased rent.
Yeah. So it really creates an opportune time to purchase, to invest, both for tenants looking to be a first-time home buyer, seasoned investors. This is a good little dip that we're going to see in terms of the impact on the rising mortgage rates, dampening a little bit of the demand, maybe putting a little bit of fear of loss into some of the other sellers. It's a good time to pick up property for the long haul.
And you might be thinking, well, of course, you're real estate agents. You're
Yeah.
telling people to buy.
Yeah.
But we've been saying this over the last 6 years as people have thought, it's the top of the market.
Yeah.
Like, should I be selling? And we keep going back with data and showing the market's going to continue. It's hard to say in the next year, and there might be some anecdotal situations where people see a decrease in pricing. But overall, if you look at forward 3 years from now, prices are going to be higher in 3 years.
Yeah.
So an opportunity now to buy based on other people being a little bit afraid of what's going on
Right.
is a great opportunity to jump into the market and get yourself an investment property or a home. David Shapiro here with my colleague Lee Abraham. If you enjoyed this video, like the video, share it with a friend, comment below on what you've seen your rent go up over the last year. We'd love to see kind of anecdotally what people are actually seeing out there. And if you need any help in your real estate journey, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Our info is below.